So hello everyone and welcome to our feature demo weeks. This is our first webinar, very short form, where we try to tell you a little bit about how SmartOcto helps with different business models in this case. And the first one up is how SmartOcto supports subscription models, or how it supports the newsrooms that are operating on reader revenue. What we want to tell you first as a key benefit or as an ultimate goal with SmartOcto is that you can reach up to 39% more conversions. Of course, we are very aware that systems such as ours or any other do not deliver subscriptions. Editors do that. Great journalism delivered to the right audience at the right time in the optimal channels. That is what drives conversions. But SmartOcto can assist storytellers in all of these processes, and we do it 1,000 times basically per day. The uplift is, as I mentioned, 39%. If you execute well everything with what SmartOcto helps. So it can be somewhere in between, but we like to say that the maximum impact that you can have is even up to 39% more conversions per month. In just like 10 minutes, I'll give you a few things that will show you how SmartOcto can help in these various use cases with something that you actually need to do, something that you need to do every day with data in the newsroom. I'll just tell a little bit about myself. My name is Milos, and I work for SmartOcto, but I come from from your side as well. So I did my fair time in journalism as well. And some of the things that I saw there, or the way we worked, or the challenges that we had, kind of they recommended SmartOcto to me as a next stage. So what we are going to take a look at briefly is our unique system of SmartOcto smart notifications. Basically, we have around 200 different algorithms that go through your data in real time and come back and report to the editors which action they can take to make even better performance of their stories. And some of those notifications are actually about conversions, about your premium content. So that's the biggest part. That's the biggest optimization that you can make in real time. Then we also have actionable dashboards where you have the full liberty of filtering and creating the dashboards the way you need them to suit your use case, to make your editors focus on the data that is really essential. In this case, probably the data on premium content or data about conversions, etc. Article score, or that's just a simplified version right now here. It's called the CPI actually. So that's another algorithm that takes into account hundreds of metrics and their relations and comes up with a single number saying how good a piece of content is compared to your all other content. And this is essential because the last thing, which we believe is one of the most powerful things, the quadrant model analysis, is based on the CPI. It's more of a way of looking at the data and identifying which are the most valuable pieces of content that you have, and the ones that are most likely to convert well. So how did we come up with the 39%? Very briefly, on average, we are able to identify the golden nuggets, the content that is best for you, the content that you shall see in the quadrant model, and the content which falls under this category of the gold nuggets. It delivers 10 times as many subscriptions compared to the average story, and that usually accounts with our clients to 66% of total number of conversions, which is 2/3 of conversions. So let's say that a very small amount of content is what is delivering 2/3 of conversions. On 50% of these stories, these best stories that you will have or you already have, we deliver actionable tips, those notifications that I have mentioned before. And we have been able to come up with a calculation that says that out of those notifications delivered on those top stories, around half of them or a little bit less are proposing some kind of immediate action. And when you do the math behind all of these numbers, what you get as a result is that you can achieve uplift of up to 39% of the conversions. So I'll do a little demo for you. I'll show you a few things. First thing where we land, what I mentioned, were the notifications. This is something which SmartOcto is famous for. So a system of algorithms that goes through your data in real time, and reports back to the newsrooms what you can do to make the performance of your stories better. Some of them, among many others, some of them are, of course, tied, let's say, to a homepage optimization. Some of them are strictly editorial in terms of which are the best stories of the day, which are the most read stories of the day, where people spend the most time. Some of them are more like distribution-wise for the newsletters editors, social media editors, but there is a specific cohort of notifications that is dedicated to those who are working with premium content. For example, if you're operating on a freemium model, there is too little premium on the homepage, and the system, that's what the system says, and the system gives you an article that is not on the homepage already, but it's behind the paywall and suggests that this is your next candidate. Also, we will tell you when a paid story has a lower engagement, or we will tell you when you have a high number of logged in visitors on a particular story, or when an old paid or free story is being read again so that you can make a premium follow-up, or even better, when the metrics for a story in real time show, for a free story, show that it's so good it can be put behind a paywall. So on all of these various things, Smart Octo will speak to the editors, and this is where the number of 39% comes from. If you execute well on these notifications, the result can be very good. Another part of the system that I mentioned is Smart Octo Waves. It's a system of creating actionable dashboards, creating fully customizable dashboards, where you can choose basically everything from the layout of the dashboard to the time windows that you want to observe, from 1 minute to today so far. You can include conversion lists. You can include different story types, whether you want to observe only paid or free. And then you can make even comparisons. Best free content today on the left side of the screen, best paid content on the right side of the screen. See what's, for example, from the paid content is not on the homepage, etc. See which are the candidates to become to be put behind the paywall. Even put a list of notifications like a live feed within one of those. So this is how it looks on just an example on one of our clients, where they have tips and suggestions and the stories. But this can be basically anything that you can think of, and it blends perfectly with the strategy of getting more subscriptions, because it shows you which stories are behind the paywall. You can tune in the metrics, for example, the engagement metrics that are important for this model, how much time people spend, how deeply they read, etc. Very simple system that has many uses throughout the newsroom. What's maybe not so simple to explain is the CPI, but we will try to make it short and simple. So I mentioned the article score in the beginning. This is something like an article score, but it's more than that. It's available as a score for a section, for an article, for the topic, for an author, etc. But if we take an example of an article and then try to explain what the CPI is here, because it will be very important for our next thing. So the CPI is always the number of between 0 and 1,000, where 500 is the median value. So 500 is the most average, let's say, performance on your website. Everything above 500 is above averagely performing. Everything below is below average in terms of performance. So what you need to know when you're looking at how good something is, how likely something to convert, is engagement and loyalty, because these two sub CPIs tell you how attentively people are reading the content and how loyal they are. When we are talking about engagement, we are looking at metrics such as the true attention time of the story, such as the page depth, so how likely they are to continue exploring on our website after the first session. Also, reading depth, how deeply they read into an article. And this is not just scroll depth, this is so much more. And the loyalty, well, that's a whole another figure. Loyalty tells you about how this piece of content appeals to your habitually highly engaged readers. So to people who are at your website often, and when they come, they read attentively. So it's a cohort of readers, super fans. Those are the people who will most likely become your subscribers. We have them throughout the system. For example, here, the loyal visitors, and why it's important to say just a bit about them, because we did research and only 3.8% of these people are on average within one media website. from all of their visitors, and they generate 5 times more content monthly compared to other readers. So those are they are the super fans. They come very often. They are the most likely to subscribe. Which brings us to the article quadrant, just one feature of the Insights, and Insights is the historical data system, where also CPI lives. This is the quadrant analysis, the easy way of determining which are our best articles and what we can do with them. So we recognize 4 different types of articles: substandard, niche, reach champions, and pure win. We can observe them with exposure versus engagement. So exposure is reach, exposure is popularity of the article. You can even say clickability, so how many people read it, engagement, how attentively they read it, and CPI loyalty, which stands for how this appeals to those loyal readers, habitually highly engaged readers. Substandard articles are the ones that you might want to evaluate from a perspective of maybe we don't want to do this. So when you hover over a story, the system will tell you what the story is, and you can click on any of the stories. What you can do with substandard ones is to understand what doesn't work with your audience, because in this case it has a exposure lower than 500 and engagement lower than 500. Niche articles are the articles that can still contribute well to your strategy. Those are the ones that have high engagement, but they have lower than average exposure, which means that they were not read by a lot of people, but those people who were able to find them, they were very pleased with the content. They read it attentively. So maybe it was just our mistake, such as we didn't promote it enough. It was not on the homepage. We didn't share it to a newsletter. We didn't send it to our social media or something like that. So if there is an opportunity, if these articles, tend to last a little bit longer, you can reshare them. You can resurface them somewhere and see whether it was, a miscommunication in actually just promoting a very good story, because people are engaged here. Reach champions is the vice versa. Those are the articles that had very high reach, but that they had low engagement. So one of the reasons for that to happen could be that they are very short. So breaking news, for example, they have a lot of clicks, a lot of new readers you get from them. They are very popular across social media, but people don't read them long enough, or they don't read them attentively, or they do not go to another article after this one. And those are the indicators that they are not likely to subscribe if they get only 10 seconds information from you and go away, and you don't want that. So what we can do with these is either make specific follow-ups on these stories that are longer, more researched, maybe with more context, so that we can keep people on the topic that we are absolutely sure is very clickable. So people really like to read about this, but we didn't maybe have what to offer. And another thing is, while we are still live, while this is still hot, delegate people to edit and to put more stuff to these articles, so that we can, make people spend more time, maybe jump to a few pages with links within the articles. At some point they're going to hit the paywall probably, right? If that is the model. And the pure win, those are the gold nuggets. So these are the articles that are most likely to convert readers. What do we do with these is we actually try to understand what is good about this that makes them deliver 10 times more subscriptions than anything else. So basically, the pure wins are the gold nuggets that I mentioned. Those are the ones that are most likely to subscribe, and they will deliver 2/3 of entire subscriptions. This is not just something that we are saying right now. This is actual research coming from our clients who were able to confirm that they had let's say 10 times higher likeliness to convert people. So what we want to do with these is maybe a good way is an old rule by the BBC, which was analyze the top 10% and the lowest 10% of an article, which will then tell you, right, understand which are the best ones, which are the practices, which are the patterns within these best articles. Is it the topic? Is it the length? Is it the way we presented it with photos and video, etc.? What is that helps them being placed here? Back to the presentation, that was mostly a that in terms of this short presentation, but we can take some of your questions. Maybe I should check the Meet and see if what we have here in the chat. And yeah, when you already have a contact with a different data analytics company and don't have too much money for the whole package, what feature would you recommend to boost subscriptions? A feature that will help you boost subscriptions the most is probably the quadrant model, the historical data, where you can analyze everything. If you take that would probably be enough. But today, a lot of newsrooms don't want to do anything without the combination of real-time and historical data. So maybe you don't have to take waves, you don't have to take our image testing or our A/B testing, but the basic combination of real-time notifications plus the insights tool, which holds the CPI and holds the quadrant model, might be sufficient to start. Can you do image testing? Yes. I believe you will see A/B testing in one of the other demos, because that's a very good tactic to increase the amount of clicks. Yes, SmartOcto can test both headlines, lead-ins, depending on the format of your homepage and how you present your articles. And also it can test the images. Can you link notifications to Slack? Yes, you can link notifications to Slack, to email. You can link them to Google Hangouts if you use that, and you can link them to Microsoft Teams. So that's one of the better ideas, I believe, that we came up with in recent years, is to bring notifications to the editors. We don't have to have them in the tool logged in at all the time. SmartOcto can speak to them throughout various platforms. So if you basically don't have any other questions, I believe this concludes our short form. Didn't took too much of your time. And yeah, next week we will talk about, my colleague will talk about how SmartOcto's features support advertising models.